mine said, try these GR mouthpieces out. I met Gary, and he said to me, what are you playing on? He goes, it's interesting, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not looking for anything special. There was the reason why I was going to him. I think I wanted 3 or 4 of them made so I could have one on the road with me in case I dropped one, just as an extra type of thing. And so I wanted the consistent. I remember I wanted something consistent where I could play 2 of the same mouthpieces that played identical, which is really hard in manufacturing to find. So I remember him saying to me, basically, I'm going to make it better. And I think within 2 weeks' time, not only did I have the mouthpiece with the same feel as what I played, it was tremendously better as far as focus, as far as just the sound. I had more, I kind of look at, anybody can make a loud, bright mouthpiece. It's pretty simple. You make a short run of small bowl mouthpieces. You're going to get that shrill sound. But what I really equated to Gary's, you do the math technique, the way they played and the way they sounded was going to a stereo EQ and having everything lining up perfectly. Just the highs were there and the mids were there. Everything was just sonically. The sound was just wow, it was focused, and everything was just and he sent me 2. They played identical. I was like, oh my God. So that was my draw to him. And since then we've had a funny relationship 18 years later. And he's the best. But the impetus of the mouthpiece was to have a 3C sound that was better in the upper register, a little more shallow. That was comfortable for me, and the comfort was that flat rim. He calls it a high alpha angle. In his terms, Gary calls it a high alpha angle, and that's just what I liked about it was a good all-around mouthpiece. I could play very warm, get a very warm sound on, and then put the gas to it, put a lot of air into it, and it could change itself to where it could be a little brighter.
Okay.
That was comfortable. So that's my deepest. This is my oldest mouthpiece. 18 years. It's my most consistent mouthpiece as far as its play. It plays. It's the all-around workhorse, so to speak. If I had to have one, I would say it would be the Jazz, because it just has the best attributes out of all of them. Now each one of them in the series that we put together, each of them have its own place and timbre. So that's and they all kind of work together. So that was the concept of the whole series.
So from the signature Jazz, you went to the Z.
Yeah, I went to the original Z, which was, I guess, I want to say 15 years ago. I played the Jazz for 3 or 4 years, and then I went to the Z, more into the more rock and roll and lead trumpet player on Broadway, and more electric settings. Throughout the years, conventional trumpet sounds have changed as far as lead players and jazz players. I think a lot of guys were playing the Bobby Shoe 1s, Marcinkowitz's, and especially on Maynard's band, and when I show up on pop sessions, stuff like that, guys were playing these 1s and 1.5s. Have a great sound, very lasery. So the Z was kind of my concept coming off that jazz mouthpiece that was still had the same feel and not tiny. I can't really play a tiny mouthpiece. So the Z, which is very, very interesting for me, was it's not a deep cup, and it's not really shallow, but it has the identical same rim, where I'm not hurting myself. Very flat, very forgiving. Not a lot of purchase, but enough purchase where you're not sliding around. Back in the day, if you ever played a jet tone mouthpiece, like a Maynard jet tone mouthpiece or Al Hurt mouthpiece, they had no purchase at all, and they'd slide over your face. You couldn't find your center on it. So the Z had a little bit tighter backbore, smaller throat. Well, throat and backbore are the same, but shag size. So, for instance, your backbore on the Z was like a 1, and the Jazz was a 3, which is the biggest. So it had that laser sound, and it penetrated. When I was playing more pop, and I had to play more lead in electric settings. So that was the Z.
And are the cups the same on those two?
the cups are not the same. I would say the Z is definitely shallower and it's a little bit more narrower, but not much.
Okay.
It's not like, oh my God, it's tiny.
To finalize the original series, you had the Flugel.
Yeah, I had the Flugel made right after the Jazz, I would say. And again, what runs true through the whole Mouthpiece series, so to speak, is the rim. This is very important. Is having, no matter what 5 mouthpieces I'm playing, I want that same feel. I want that same cushion. I don't want that purchase or bite on my chops. So the Flugel was a natural progression. Obviously, I was playing a lot of Flugel at that time. I believe on Maynard's band at that particular time too, I was soloing a little bit on Flugelhorn. And my biggest thing on playing Flugel was to play Flugel, was to have a Flugel sound. Like a lot of guys, including me. I mean, ego gets involved. You want to play louder, faster, higher, and all that. What instrument you play?
Right.
But Flugel. There's not a lot of guys that play Flugel for Flugel. And what I mean by that is having that dark, beautiful, rich sound. A lot of guys try to play high notes on Flugel. I mean, we know it really doesn't work. I mean, some guys can get away with it, and it sounds great. Well, my whole concept with the Flugel was I wanted the deepest mouthpiece I could, and this is almost a French horn cup. It's a V cup, very deep. The deepest at that point. It was the deepest cup that Gary ever actually made on the Flugel side of it. Still with the no bite, still with the flat rim, and I wanted the biggest throat opening. I just wanted the darkest Flugel sound because I knew when I do get excited, I do want to play with a little energy and or intensity. Sometimes that does it. With Billy's gig particularly now, I'm playing the same Flugel mouthpiece I designed with Gary 18 years ago. The thing's humongous. It's a very big mouthpiece. I still have to play up to high D's and E's on Freddie Hubbard's solo. Freddie was a king of playing Flugelhorn dark sound, and he was just a freak. He could play double C's on a Flugel and still have that dark sound. So
yeah, but it's also versatile, so you're able to use it in small jazz club setting, or you're playing in front of 60,000 people at Fenway. Or
that's what's amazing, because again, I think I attribute that is to that comfortable rim and no bite, or less of a bite with again the purchase. So yeah, it's my own little Flugel mouthpiece. I play it in small clubs and jazz quartets, and I play it with Billy in front of me. 5 people to 5,000 people to 50,000 people. It doesn't matter. It's just it's got the darkest sound available in my line or anything I played prior to that. I'm playing on these shows with Billy. When I'm playing with Billy Joel, I don't get much slapback. I'm not in a club. I like the feel of the jazz mouthpiece. I just like it. So I want something in a rock setting, jazz rock. And actually, one of the prototypes he made me had a star on it. It just kind of fell in place. Oh, it's Jazz Rockstar. Not only does it come out of the name, it has the attributes of both the Z and the jazz. So I was really looking for a commercial sounding mouthpiece that would have an open feel. A cup that wasn't going to swell me up. When I played the Z for a long time, really pounding, after a smaller mouthpiece, you have more swelling on. So I liked it in a rock setting, or not that Billy Joel's rock, but it's a lot more rock than a jazz thing or a legit thing that I would try to do or whatever, even though I can't play legit.
But it's also having a lot to do with the arenas and the size of the venue.
Yeah. Actually, that's a very good point. The arenas. You don't want as laserish. I didn't want a laser sound. I played the Z mouthpiece. It was a very penetrating, great focus sound, great to play with other players to get, to get pitch on, and it was a great blendable mouthpiece. But my whole concept with the jazz mouthpiece and this jazz Rockstar mouthpiece was to have, instead of a sound of a cone like this, I wanted to have a sound from left to right, which the original jazz did. But it was just too much work in an arena. But I still wanted that. And that big sound, which hence is a 3 backbore on these Jazz Rockstars.
Which is the same backbore as the original jazz.
Yes. Right. And the same, again, here's the concept of same feel on the rim, same feel on the inner cup, you know, or the purchase, like I like to call it. Maynard used to call it purchase. This one has purchase. If it didn't have purchase, what was hysterical about Maynard? Yeah, this thing's too new. It would be like fishing around. No, give me some change. And he'd put some change in his pocket and take his mouthpiece, rattling around. And then I'd see him once in a while, scratching it on a thing just to get a little purchase, to get that plate a little rough. He wanted a little. Oh my God, I couldn't. Yeah, and that word always stuck in my head. I need purchase in it. You know, he needed something to stick onto. I'm not recommending that, by the way. Worked for him.
But so from a consistency perspective, same rim, same backbore as the original Jazz.
Correct.
It's still got the high alpha angle towards the outside.
Correct.
Which makes it feel a little bit wider.
Correct.
Than it actually is.
Absolutely. A little shallower cup.
Okay.
That's where we're getting with the cup size. Alright,
so let's move on from the Jazz Rockstar, which is the first new mouthpiece in the line.
Correct.
To the fifth mouthpiece in the line, which is the Fish Lips.
Thank God I got 5 fingers. That Z mouthpiece we designed. The brand new one is now called Fish Lips. And it came out of Gary's mouth. He goes, yeah, put this on your fish lips. And I'm like, well...
That actually works.
I'm like, it worked for the simple reason is when I'm playing back-to-back shows or 2 sets a night and really hammering it out, I would get a little swollen. And this was a lot more forgiving when I was playing where I was playing back-to-back. Now, if I'm in the studio and need a zip type of thing, I'm going to that Z. So they all kind of work. They all kind of work together. Again, I'm not trying to sell you the whole line, but for me, when I want a really zippy sound, no pun intended, I go right for that Z mouthpiece. It's immediate. The response is flash, bang, here it is. It's not going to be as big as the Jazz. Now, if I want just a good all-around sound, I go, you know, with the dark. I can play dark on it. I can get bright, but very big. I go to Jazz. Now, if I want something that's going to be in the middle of that, I go for that Jazz Rockstar. And the Jazz Rockstar for me is great for the simple reason is that seems like it's in the middle, so to speak, of
it's kind of the best of all the worlds.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of got the best thing. And then when we talked about, you know, on the Fish Lips, if I wanted something where I'm, let's say I'm in the studio banging things out, or you just need a little bit of a darker sound, not as bright, I'd go to the Fish Lips, the heartbeat. And then the fifth, obviously, is the DWB, which is the Flugel.
The Flugel.
So that's how it all kind of came about.